Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing another book review. So I picked up a book recently from the public library. I was looking in the psychology section and having a little browse around, and I found this, which is called The Happiness Equation. And it really stuck out to me as something that I thought was quite interesting, particularly because of the subtitle, which is Want Nothing plus Do Anything equals Have Everything. The thing that really appealed to me about it was this whole concept of want nothing as well as do anything. Now, a lot of my time as a coach is spent thinking about supporting my clients and empowering them to be able to have the confidence to be able to do anything, and also to be able to work out how they're going to be doing those things. And a lot of my own time in terms of my own development is spent thinking about how to achieve things. I'm very much focused on goals, very much focused on tasks and actions and all those things. That's the type of person that I tend to be, which I think naturally lends itself to a sort of coaching mindset as well, which is really, really positive. But what I sometimes don't pay attention to as much and keep coming back to and want to pay more attention to is this concept of not wanting anything. And so minimalism is something which interests me. I'm always trying to keep things to a minimal level. So I'm trying to only purchase things if I particularly need them. I'm also trying to kind of restrict the amounts of decisions that I have to make because I don't have as much as I used to have. So although I have a lot more things than a sort of minimalist might do, I do think that a lot of areas of my life are quite minimalist. So if I purchase a book and then read it and I've finished with it, then I will then pass it on to somebody else. I don't tend to hold on to things. So I was particularly intrigued by this concept of want nothing and do anything equals have everything. It really appealed to me. So I picked up the book. I borrowed it from the public library. Now, because it was a book that I hadn't necessarily planned to read, it was a sort of ad hoc one that I found, I was worried if I would actually get through this book because there's quite a lot in this, and it is over 250 pages, and this isn't a book that I'd planned to read, and I'm generally a slow reader, and all these things are going around my mind. And then I picked it up and started reading it, and I read the whole thing in just over a week, which for me is really unusual. I absolutely loved this book. I cannot praise it highly enough. And this is still the library copy, but I think I may well purchase my own because I think it's something that I can imagine going back to and also recommending for other people. And so I'd like to be able to lend this book to people if they might find some of it interesting. The way that this book is structured is it has certain rules for the happiness equation, and it has, I think it's 7 different secrets that it lays it out as. It's 9 different secrets that it lays out as, and so that's how it's structured into sort of subchapters within those 9 secrets. And so, for example, the first secret number 1, which sits within the area of wanting nothing, is the first thing that you must do before you can be happy. Secret number 2 is do this and criticism can't touch you. And without giving too much away, there's some really interesting concepts within the book. The other thing that I really like about this book is that it has lots of diagrams throughout. This is a particular one that I liked, which talks about flow. Hopefully you can see that. So they're all sort of hand-drawn sketches, which I really like within the book. And this particular one is talking about how to get into the zone of flow, which is something that I'll probably talk more about in future videos actually, because it is something that interests me and that I like to share my own experience with and encourage others to think about when they are in flow. And so this talks about the different, it kind of plots it onto this chart of skill level from low to high and challenge level from low to high, and it puts flow as that top point. So high skill and high challenge, and it kind of plots it against other feelings such as arousal, which might be high challenge but slightly lower skill level, and control, which would be high skill level but slightly lower challenge level, and things like that. So it's a really interesting diagram, and throughout there are lots of sort of cartoons and sketches and just sort of different ways of presenting things. This is talking about the different buckets within your life, so it splits your time into different buckets of how you kind of split the hours of your week. And I just really like it. I think it adds quite a lot of these sort of hand-drawn or handwritten rules and sketches and things like that. It was a really quite quick read because it is separated into lots of sub-chapters within the chapters. But I did find that I did find there was quite a lot to this book, actually. So I found myself wanting to pause at certain points. I could have probably read it a lot quicker, but I actually wanted to pause after I'd finished a section and have a little think about that and reflect on how that might apply within my own life. A couple of examples of things that I have changed in my life based on this book, which I always think is a good sign of a book. One is a really small thing, actually, but in one of the chapters, he talks about decisions and how many decisions we have to make on a daily basis and how debilitating this can be, because in making all of these small decisions all the time, we don't have as much brain space to think about the things that are really important to us. And so this is where it starts talking about how we can do anything, but if we've got all this mind clutter within our mind, then we don't have the capacity to think and plan and do the things that we are really drawn to do and the things that we really want to do to help us achieve our goals, our passions, those kind of things. And so within this book, he outlines in a tiny, tiny typeface all of the decisions that he had to make within a day. On that particular day, he went to the gym, and a lot of the questions were around, like, what exercises should I do next? How many should I do? How many sets should I do? How long should I wait between the next set? What should I do next? Where should I go to do this? All these sorts of questions that you are asking yourself all the time. And actually that really takes a lot of energy and a lot of time, which limits the amount of mental capacity we have for the bigger decisions and the more important decisions that we need to make on a regular basis. It also talks about food, and this is where one of the biggest changes has come into my life, because we spend quite a lot of time, particularly for evening meals, planning and thinking about, without actually putting things into action, what we're going to be eating in the evening. Both myself and my husband are self-employed, and we predominantly work from home, so we have the flexibility to be able to cook and make things that take a little bit longer. We can plan, we can start things during the day. What we often find, however, is that we put off that discussion about what we're having for our evening meal until just as we need to make it, and that's when we then realise we don't have everything we need to make a certain meal, or we realise that we neither of us have any idea what we feel like eating. And this was causing, for me, quite a lot of stress and anxiety around the mealtime, and it was taking up a lot of that mental capacity to do other things, because throughout the day I was thinking, like, I wonder what we're going to have for tea, and do I need to go and get something so that we can have a certain meal for tea, and all these kind of things. So I've started meal planning now, and I had a conversation with my husband. I'm taking responsibility for the planning of the meals and for making sure that we have the ingredients in, and he's predominantly taking responsibility for cooking the meals because that's the part that he really enjoys, and that seems to be working really well, and it's definitely taken something off my mind. That means that I don't have to worry about that, and therefore I have more capacity to think about other more important things. So that's something that has really, really helped me. The other thing that I've taken from this book was a sort of flow chart, and it was talking about being able to do something, and it was talking about the fact that we normally don't do something until we know that we can do it and we have confidence that we can do it. But actually one of the ways to know that we can do something and to build that confidence is to actually do it and to get experience. And so he turns this from a straight line diagram into a circular diagram and encourages us to do the things that we want to do more of. And once we start doing those things, then that will kind of support itself, and we'll want to do more of those things because we'll grow in confidence and we'll want to do those things more. So that's been really helpful for me in terms of thinking about the things that I want to do. It supports my 2018 goal of being more courageous, and it also supports things in general of stopping myself from not wanting to do something because I don't feel ready, and actually just trying these things out, whether it be in a small scale or just a small thing, or whether just going for it. And so I kind of really like that. So that's more about the sort of do anything side of the book. But I took a lot from this book. I keep going back to things that I read within it, and I love the fact that it's focused very much on the individual, And so it's very empowering in that it focuses on the things that you can control, and it focuses on you taking control of your life and on you being able to get to a stage where you want nothing and do anything and therefore have everything, rather than the sort of situation where you feel stifled because it's a certain situational context. So I really, really like this book. The author, I'm covering it up, the author is Neil Pasricha. The author is Neil Pasricha. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. And he also wrote the book of Awesome, which I had heard of. And he talks a little bit about this actually within the book, and the fact that he suddenly became really bothered about what people thought. And so when he initially launched his blog, it was just about sharing things. Then when he hit certain level of popularity, it was about getting to the next stage, getting to the next stage, getting to the next stage. And that was another thing which kind of stuck with me as well. We often have these goals that we set, but sometimes we go further than our goals, and instead of really stopping to appreciate that and celebrate that, we push ourselves further without really thinking about what is it that we really wanted to get out of this. And sometimes we seek to achieve things like validation from other people, whereas actually we're doing this for ourselves. So again, a lot in this book is about thinking about what we want to get out of things and doing them for that purpose rather than for validation from other people. So 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, whatever rating you're doing, I'm giving it a top score. Lovely discovery, because I don't think I would have found out about this book otherwise just from browsing the local public library. So yay to public libraries. I am a librarian by my background before I became a coach, so it's always good to support local libraries, and I'm really, really pleased that I found this in my local library. I've read this. I will be recommending it to other people, and I'm probably going to purchase my own copy as well. Fantastic book. Really glad that I found it. So massive recommendation on this one. So after all that positivity, I'm buzzing with the enthusiasm about that. I'm really enjoying reading at the moment. So I've read quite a few books. I've also got into the habit of reading Blinkist, which is an app that every day on the free account provides you with a summary of a non-fiction book. A lot of them are around topics like the one that I've mentioned in this video actually. So they are about things like productivity, positivity, goal setting, what we can learn from different scenarios. But there are also books on there about science and about astronomy, all sorts of different topics, and every day a new one is chosen as the free Blink, and it takes about 10 to 15 minutes to kind of read that summary, and I'm really enjoying those. So I've been doing that every day. And I've got a referral link actually if you would like to join Blinkist, so I'll put that into the description box. It is free, but if you click on the link, then I will get access to some of the other things as well. So just a full disclosure about that. But yeah, I've been really enjoying reading. I have another book that I've finished that I'll be reviewing soon. And I have another one that I'm halfway through. And I'm really getting into this habit of reading books, learning from them, reflecting on them, and sharing what I've learned as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please like the video and subscribe to my channel, because I definitely plan to have more book reviews coming. I've got loads of books that I'm currently reading or want to read, and I'm definitely going to be reviewing them for you on this channel in future. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye.